here we are midday, doing our second application of sunscreen because it's hot and sunny out here. I'm on an Evil the Calling this time, 27.5 mid-travel, and
what's the travel on that one?
130, 140.
Okay.
And this guy here is an Enduro, Specialized Enduro, is that the name of it?
S3.
S3, with tons of travel, like 6 feet of travel. And oh, XTR?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
XTR brakes.
1x12. This is probably like a $9,000 bike right here.
What's it weigh? Pretty light?
It's a little light. It's probably low 30s. Probably like 32 maybe.
Nice. This one's probably about 30.
I thought it was gonna be.
Well, it's all XTR, yeah. So we're gonna take this around. Easy loop. Easy LZ loop. And see what it's like. And I'm curious to compare this linkage back here. They call it the Delta system. Curious to compare that to the Yetis. So let's get on the trails, see what it's like. Alright, welcome to my demo ride of Evil the Calling. And once again, we're going to do our same test loop, the lazy easy loop here in the counterclockwise direction. So let's get to the ride. Now on the trail with the Evil the Calling. Really loud freewheel.
This is actually a really fun bike.
Really?
It's for how it doesn't feel like a big bike.
Yeah,
it's
good.
It's actually really playful.
That's what the guy was saying. It doesn't feel like a super long travel bike. So far, I think I'm still getting used to it, but I like these 27.5 wheels. Rear suspension feels less. You're doing some air again.
Yeah.
It feels a little less active than the Yeti. I think they had about the same travel too. So I'm curious to see how this feels as we go around here. It's cool though, down here it has a little chip you can flip around from low to super low.
Flip chip.
So let's talk about the flip chip. This is something that Evil has incorporated into their Delta system linkage here. What it is, it's the chip there. You can see it's in the low configuration. That's how I wrote it in low. It's low on one side, super low, or they call it extra low on the other. I don't know why they call it low and high, but anyway. What it does is change the suspension geometry in the rear linkage to lower the bottom bracket slightly, which as a result gives you a different head tube angle. And you can see there you get about a 3/4 of a degree less head tube angle, while the bottom bracket goes down about a 1/4 inch. And as the illustration is going to show here, you probably don't want to be doing this before every ride, because you kind of have to take apart a bunch of bolts and geometry and whatever. But I could see, for instance, if you're going to do cross-country riding one season, and then you switch over and do a lot of downhill and shuttle rides the next season, I could see, you know, switching that around and getting a different feel bike so you can have the best of both worlds, right? But, I mean, I don't know. I didn't get a chance to play with this, of course, because it was a borrowed bike. But I'm curious if anyone has any experience with these. Let me know in the comments below. How much of a difference does that make? I think it's pretty cool to incorporate in that, especially if you're considering a bike and it just doesn't have quite the right feel. Say, oh, I wish I had a little bit more head tube angle, or a little bit less. This gives you the option with one bike to have two different things. I think that's pretty cool. So that's pretty cool.
I've been on bikes that have that, but I didn't mess with that.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't sure how it worked.
Crazy loud. Baby. So far here I wasn't super happy with how the suspension was performing, and as it turns out the rear shock was like full open on rebound, and I realized that a little bit later here, and I made an adjustment, and that really helped. But so far I wasn't too impressed. Nothing against the bike, of course, because that's, you know, in the setup. You can have the best bike in the world, but if it's set up wrong, it's just not going to feel right.
This is actually a really fun bike.
This freewheel drives me crazy.
Too loud?
Yeah. It's loud. I'm not used to that. I'm glad you like it. Surprising you?
Yeah.
Huh.
For like probably one of the cheapest Enduro bikes you can get, is actually really impressive.
Nice. It's carbon, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Sure. Now you may recall from my last video that I just did the same loop on a Yeti SB140, which has 29-inch wheels, and it wasn't up until this point here, this little bit faster flowy section, that I first noticed the difference between 29s and these 27.5 that I'm on now. Yeah, definitely like these 27.5.
Hi.
Thanks. Howdy. Alright, ready for my impressions of the Evil. Love the 27.5. I can tell I'm not like fast little part. Totally easier to maneuver it and get it to turn. Love that. The rear suspension, for some, I don't know if it's the setup or what, but it feels like on every bump it like pushes me back up. Oof. Whereas the Yeti just absorbed the bump.
Whenever you adjust the rebound.
Oh look, here we go. Rebound, turtle. What is that symbol? Not a turtle. Rabbit?
I want to go towards the turtle.
Yeah, I'm gonna go more to see turtle.
The bike should be stepping.
Oh, that made a big difference. It was on like all open. How's it climb?
It's actually not bad at all.
Okay, so I adjusted the rebound to be a little slower. So it felt like I was getting pushed back up after every bump, so let's see how it feels. Yeah, I can already tell that rebound helped. Yeah, now it just absorbs the shock. It doesn't launch me back up.
Looks a lot better now.
Yeah. Now it feels like the Yeti. Woo. This one climbs equally good. It does the same thing where it kind of squats down. Well, not squat. It actually extends the travel when I pedal. Yeah, so I left some of the climbing in this one. I know it's not very exciting to watch, but just to show there is some pretty decent climbing on this route. And, you know, to get this a really good feel of the bike, you got to do some climbing, descents. This has some pretty decent climbs and some little bit technical stuff like going around the corner right here. But I couldn't really detect any differences between this and the Yeti I just rode as far as climbing wise. I mean, I think any modern geometry bike is going to climb pretty well. And these both did that really good. I still like the Yeti better for some reason. Don't know why.
This bike climbs pretty well.
Good.
I can see, when I look down, I can see the shock bobbing a little bit, but I don't feel it.
Uh-huh. Cool.
So it feels like my pedal is not losing any momentum.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like is the chain guard. Like here's the chain guard up against it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you heard me say just a little bit ago that I like the Yeti better still, and I didn't know why. Well, it wasn't until this point here that the Eagle really started to come alive. And it was like the more I pushed it, the harder I pushed it, the better it felt. And I think it definitely has to do with their Delta rear linkage system, which I'll get into in a little bit here. And yeah, you owe yourself a ride on the Eagle to check it out, because it really comes alive when you start pushing it. Yeah, so let's talk about this Evil's rear suspension system. So they call it their Delta system, which evidently stands for Dave's Extra Legitimate Travel Apparatus, which is pretty hilarious. But as you may have seen there, it says it's a dual progressive leverage rate curve. And that just basically means that the shock doesn't move linearly with wheel travel. And what that gives you is, as you see here, initial stroke support, which is pretty firm. Maybe that's why I didn't like it initially. But as you can see here, and this is where it really got me, this mid-stroke stuff, it says, for a playful, responsive feel with lots of pop, and that's absolutely true. And once I started pushing it and got in that kind of mid-stroke area, it really came alive. And I didn't really get it into this deep into the travel to experience it, but just, so check out here, we'll let it go up and down a couple times. You can see that the shock doesn't move linearly with wheel travel, and that's what a progressive design does, and it absolutely works. So, pretty cool system. Talking. So that comment there was just pointing to the fact that these 27.5s change direction so much better than 29s, at least seemingly they do. And that's all your preference. If you like kind of change the direction a lot, flowy things like I do, if you're a lighter or smaller rider, 27.5s might be for you. Otherwise, maybe 29s are your thing if you like to roll over bigger obstacles, bigger drops, that sort of stuff. Either way, isn't this stuff awesome? Thanks for watching this one. That's my impressions of the Eagle, the Calling. Coming up next, I'm going to be riding the Pivot Mach 5.5, one of the longer travel bikes I rode, so check back for that. As always, thanks for watching. Enjoy your ride.